Time now, though, for a little art and math.
All right, hey, welcome back to Art Undo the Math. I'm Sam, and today we are creating an acrylic painting that we're focusing on the rule of thirds. So I just heard you guys were talking about the Fibonacci sequence and the golden rule. The rule of thirds is a little bit different. It is a kind of more quicker, easier way to select some composition that looks dynamic, and it's asymmetrical. A lot of times rule of thirds is used in photography. You sometimes will see that grid on your iPhone, kind of helps you place things. That's the rule of thirds. So
All right, well, it looks like Sam's having a little difficulty with the microphone, so we will get out there as soon as we get that all solved. So we're going to go back over to Sam, check out how the art and math is going right now.
all right, we're back here. So the rule of thirds, what we did here today, so we broke up our picture into a grid of 9, and then you have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. So with when you're doing landscapes here, you can decide whether you want your horizon line at the 1/3 mark or the 2/3 mark. A lot of times with like ocean scenes or seascapes, you want to have more ocean. Today we're doing this landscape here. What we did was we found our PowerPoint. So a PowerPoint is where the grid crosses over. And these are the places you want. If you're doing the photography, usually you want people's eyes to cross here. So right now what we're doing is our PowerPoint became our sun. And then our sky, right now, what's our fraction of sky? How many? 2/3 is our sky, right? So then our ground or our landscape or the grass is going to be 1/3 of our picture. Currently, they have all painted their skies already. Their PowerPoint is the sun. And then right now, we're going to start painting our grass. So I want you guys to dip you can clean that brush that you're just using. You're going to wash it off. And then we're going to grab some yellow and some green, the light green that is. And then all I want you to do is you're going to just do some down strokes first. So you're just going to come across that line that we drew. We don't want to see that anymore. And you're just going to start creating some strokes that come down. You can do a couple layers. You don't want to blend it so much. You want to see the texture of the yellow and the green coming together. So we're going to fill in this last third of our painting with these grasses, but we're going to do 3 levels. We're going to do this light green, and then we're going to do a dark green, and then as it gets closer, we're going to do the black, because since it's a sunset, I just grabbed some black. If it's a sunset, you're getting all over your, the shadows are going to be behind. So everything would be turned black. So as we paint this light green all the way across, your second level will be dark green and light green too. So I'll do the dark green and the light green. So as we're moving forward, we talked about that element of art of value. As we created our value from light to dark in our sky, we're now going to create the light to dark down on our grasses. So that dark green to light green. So, like I said, this method of rule of thirds is a little bit easier and quicker instead of the golden ratio or the golden rule, but that also is another technique for painting. But this one is quick and easy, and especially good for photography and landscapes. Finish this darker, then my last level will be the black. Then once you guys get back, or once we finish our grasses, we'll start with our trees, which will be in black, and then our last step will be with our all the red leaves. I'm going to give you guys another brush for that. So tell me, you guys, what was the thing called where the lines intersect? You guys remember?
The PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, good. All right, so anytime if you're creating some pictures, I kind of showed them this here, this So you have your grid, but this just kind of shows you some different ways. So like if you have your grid here for a seascape, maybe on this PowerPoint you can put your sailboat. Or even this photography, they had 2/3 sky, 1/3 land. PowerPoint tree was down here. Same here, the ocean. PowerPoint here was your lighthouse. So, and again, this is just a quick, easy way if you're just trying to make your composition look a little more dynamic. It's just easy to kind of visualize where those PowerPoints are and where you would place your things. So we're gonna let these kids finish this grass, and then when you come back, we'll be working on our trees and creating those red leaves to have a nice fall landscape. All right, back to you, Mike.
Be nice to see what they decide to put on their PowerPoints on that art project right there. Well, I know the students were working on the rule of thirds and then figuring out where their horizon was going. We're working on trees and then some of the PowerPoints and what they were going to put there. So let's head back out to the STEAM yard with Sam and see how the students are doing with the project.
All right, so we've continued on. We've got our 2/3 of our sky and 1/3 of our ground here. And now we're working on creating our trees. So we've talked about how a lot of times in art you want to have things with odd numbers. So I chose to have 7 trees. And so I have 2 that are on this side of this third, and then the others on the 2/3 of that section. And so the students have decided whether they want 7, however many trees they have. Some might have larger, some might have smaller. So we're working on these trees. And our next step is to create some branches. And you can see on my picture up here that I kept my branches in the upper third section of my painting. And so what's gonna happen is we're gonna use our small brush. We're gonna use branches that kind of come and arch around our sun. They'll overlap each other, and that's okay. And then they don't have to be fully formed, but we're gonna be putting some leaves on top of those. And so as you guys are finishing up where you want your trees and kind of creating the trunks a little bit longer, that's when you'll use that small brush, dip it in your paint, and start at the branch, and then you're gonna pull and just start to create where you want some branches coming off of your trees here. Like I said, they might overlap each other, but try and keep them up in that third top portion of your canvas. So we're keeping them with our fractions and the rule of thirds. Like I said, if you have a bigger tree, that's okay. You can still use these smaller branches. And if you feel like your paint is wet or your stems aren't pulling as easy, go ahead and dip your brush in the water, dry it off a little bit, and that will help you get these stems a little smoother. So creating just a little forest, little happy trees, some Bob Ross. And then once we get just our branches in here in this top part, I have a different brush. And then these brushes that I brought are brushes that have almost been kind of killed by students, but they end up working really great for leaves. So let me show you some of these. So if you ever art at home and you end up having a brush that looks kind of like that, and you want to think, oh, I should throw that away, actually, it's a really great brush for making leaves. So this is something that you want to save, those squished out brushes. So I'm going to give you guys all one of these, and then we're going to start to work on our leaves. These are looking great, you guys. So tell me over here, what do you guys think about the rule of thirds? Do you think it's an easy way to create composition?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think it's easier to space out where you want certain things in your paintings.
Right, yeah. Does it make you think too, like maybe taking pictures on your camera, placement like that? Yeah. Okay, what about you guys? If you guys were gonna do another painting with a rule of thirds, would you guys do a seascape, a landscape?
I would do seascape
Yeah?
because I just like drawing beaches.
Yeah, I do too. I was actually thinking about doing a seascape, but that would have taken way longer than just an hour.
Yeah.
What about you? How do you feel about this rule of thirds?
I think it's pretty cool. I'm probably gonna use it later in my art adventures, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I know, I like it just because it gives you something quick and easy to just start going for it. All right. How about you guys? What do you guys think you'll do if you do another rule of thirds picture?
Maybe I'll do something with clouds
Yeah.
and like a sunset.
Okay.
Definitely seascape.
You wanna go seascape?
Nice.
What about
What are you gonna say?
I think I would draw like a person because I have a hard time drawing those people, and I think the rule of thirds grid could really center the face.
Yeah, yeah. No, I saw a picture and it was one that had, it was a photography, but it had this whole scene to the left. So I feel like we want to center things all the time, but really to make things a little more interesting is putting things off balance. So using that rule of thirds really just takes it into another unique perspective. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys this red, right? So with your red, and I've given you kind of these messed up brushes, all we're gonna do is you're just gonna take your red and then we're gonna start just layering in dots. And it's okay if your black is still wet because that will create different values of the red. So I'm gonna do red first, and like I said, I'm gonna try and stay in this top third area with my leaves overlapping. And a lot of your leaves, they don't even have to go, they don't have to hit the tree. You're just implying that they are filling up this tree area, right? So you can do the dark red, you can grab some red and some orange. So you're gonna just continue to fill that in. Okay, so I'm gonna give you that red. So overall, you guys, we've learned about rule of thirds, a little bit different than the Fibonacci sequence, a little bit quicker and easier, but I think it's something really easy for everyone to take away and really create some different and meaningful compositions. So as we finish up this, I know we're heading back to the studio real quick, but make sure you check our social media, see these finished pieces, and we will take a group picture when we're done here. So that is it for art today. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks for that, Sam, and I'm sure they're going to look fantastic. So once again, check that out on our social media.